I did find the right button. Yay me, go me. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining on this finally a fall evening, I guess. We've had some kind of late summer weather, so it's kind of nice to be in the fall spirit, I think so anyway. Um, Tonight's chat is all about secretaries. For those that have joined us before for our CLCs, we keep these pretty informal, and I would let everybody know that's going to be the case again. So I do have some slides to go through. Joining in this evening is our district education chair, Emily from Fremont. So thanks, Emily, for being on.
Thank you.
Okay. Like I said, we're just gonna go through a couple things that are probably good to start the year off with. And then we should have some time towards the end to do some sharing. We've got some discussion questions kind of tossed in along the way, so please feel free to jump in and ask or whatever we need as we go along. Emily, I am going to ask, since I'm going to pull the slides up on my screen, if you see somebody with a question, if you can kind of help moderate
Yeah,
that or
you got it.
do that as well, that'd be good. So, without further ado, let me get another button pushed here. First one, we will go a share screen. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm good to go. And as we said, we are here for secretaries. I am pleased that we were able to put this together tonight and so many jumped on. This is something that had actually come out of our club leadership education sessions this summer, and someone suggested it, and we talked about it with a few more, and secretaries are like, "Yeah, let's do this." And so Emily and I are happy to be able to put some information together. Hopefully it's going to be helpful to you. And as we keep talking, jump in with other questions that you have as well. One of the first things that we want to get into tonight, hopefully everybody has their club annual training done for youth protection. If not, you can still do it in November. That is an annual ask the KI does. There's training material on both the district website as well as the international website. So it can be us secretaries. I know I usually do it for my club or the club president. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, talk to your lieutenant governor, your trustee. They'd be happy to come in and do it as well. So there's a slide presentation as well as a handout that each member can get. So that's question number one. Question number two is, if you have it done already, have you reported it? Your club will not get credit for completing that unless the club secretaries report it. And where do you do that at? Well, it's a little box. I am really hopeful that when the new Kiwanis Engage comes out, they make this checkbox a little bit bigger because I know a lot of people miss it. So the box you need to check is that blue one kind of down towards just underneath center screen there. You need to check that. It's the spot where KI is going to say, yes, this club has this training done. And that is also the checkbox that will send a report to our district chair for youth protection, Linda Plachek. There's a report that's generated on that. So if you've done it, please check it. If you got it to do yet, check it when you get it done. Awards. Guess what? we've extended the deadline for the distinguished awards, and distinguished awards are for club, are for member, and also division/lieutenant governors. So if you have not applied for those yet, I guess first off, I should say thank you, because we do have some clubs that have applied for those and appreciate that. But we know there are more clubs and members out there that qualify for these. So past Governor Dale said, hey, let's extend that deadline. Let's get a few more in. So go up to the website and check out what the criteria is. Sometimes I know clubs say, well, you've got 10 criteria up there that have to be met, and we didn't meet all of them. That's okay, because there's a threshold. Your club does not have to meet all those criteria to be able to be eligible for that award. So please check that out, and it's kind of the same thing for members. For example, one of the criteria is for the member to bring in 2 new members. Well, maybe there's a particular member that hasn't done that yet, but meets the other 2 or 3 criteria. So if you've not applied for those yet, please do that. The other one that's coming up here, December 1, what's now less than a month away, is the Achievement Awards. And I know everybody goes, well, what is that? That's kind of a new terminology for our district. For us old timers, when we used to have the mid-year conferences, we handed those awards out at mid-year. So since we're not having mid-year conference anymore, we're calling them Achievement Awards. And again, those are criteria based. There's club, exemplary club, outstanding secretary, and interclubs, for your clubs going out and visiting with other clubs and attending other functions. So there's multiple ways that your club can get recognition. Those mid-year achievement awards, that's a PDF download that you do off of the website, and then you can get those back by December 1st. And I threw a discussion question on here, and I guess I would love to have a little bit of dialogue right now. Clubs on that always apply, why do you think it's important? Or clubs, if you don't check that out, if it's not because you don't qualify or eligible, why do you think it's, why don't you? I guess anybody, I'd throw that open for discussion if anybody wants to chime in.
4 years ago, we took a wrong turn and lost our purpose.
Well, we apply every year. I just think it's important to say thank you to our members and to show how much we appreciate them. And this is one of the ways of doing it. So, yeah, we always apply for them.
I agree with that. We apply also, and I think partly even we still have so many members who don't ever go to any of the district events and the division events and those types of things. And I think it just makes them more aware that Kiwanis is bigger than what's in our little meeting room.
Mhm.
Okay, that's excellent. Yeah, both good things.
And I've always said we're already doing we're already doing these things just naturally most of the time. And why not be rewarded for it and shown that we, and just we're already doing it. So let's be awarded for it. So
Yeah. Is there anybody that doesn't apply because the process is too cumbersome? I know distinguished awards, those will go back to international this coming year, but we've kind of tried to go to an online submission form for them, making it as easy as possible. I know sometimes it gets kind of hard if you've got to go through a lot of steps or scan a PDF or something like that. So if there's any challenges out there, or if you want to think about that and email me back and get back to me, hey, I think it'd be easier to apply for these awards if we did X or Z. I'd be happy to hear about that as well.
Well, for the distinguished, you've made it very easy by just, it's a link on the website and you don't even have to download and have signatures on it. The achievement awards, yeah, a PDF download might be a little extra step that we've had, but it's still pretty simple because we can still scan it to you once all the signatures get going and get that done. I think next year now that the distinguished awards will be kind of criteria is through the international might be a little bit more of a challenge because we don't have any control of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to be a form, if they're doing it automatically. We'll have to kind of see how that's rolling out, so. Okay. Well, is there anything else on district awards, distinguished governor's awards or achievement awards that anybody wants to chip in? Okay. Well, let's talk about dues. When you're talking about relevant things that are going on right now, I went to my mailbox today and out came my invoice from Kiwanis
Yeah.
International. And if you didn't get yours today, it's probably going to be in your mailbox tomorrow. So once October 10th hits and we know what those club rosters are, Kiwanis International does consider your roster firm for renewing members. And those invoices have come out. Those are due November 30th. Those go to club secretaries. I know looking at the list of who we have on tonight, we do have some secretary treasurers. So that's easy enough to move the invoice from one hand to your other hand and get that paid.
And Lane has a question when you get a
Oh, yep.
chance.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did get my invoice in the mail today, but I also looked under the finances, under the, and they're different
They're
amounts.
different.
So
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, so which one do I pay?
Okay.
Oh, good question.
Because one
Yeah,
is like $2,924, and the other one is $3,071. It's quite a discrepancy.
Are the dates the same? Look at the most recent date, maybe. See if the dates are different. The one mailed was a 10/29 invoice date on mine. And I didn't look at the online one if that was
I'm
different.
just trying to find the date on it.
On mine, when you looked at the
Oh,
invoice,
10/29, yep.
international dues were on one side and I think the district was on the other side.
Oh, that could be the
And
difference.
you add the two together and I think you're gonna get to 3,000, so.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, that could be the
if I heard the numbers correctly, her number exactly $147 off. That's one person.
Yeah,
Mm.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And-
I don't have a good answer for that. That's something we have to look into.
Well, I've sent a question to membership services to
Okay.
Very good.
get a clarification, because I thought, well, I'm not paying it till I know which one, because I don't
Well,
want to have to do two checks
Yeah.
or ask for a refund.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you got a question out to them right away and let's see what their response gets. So,
Yeah, because I thought, oh, these are kind of hard to decipher.
yeah.
For
Okay.
me, I guess I'm looking at it and I'm not totally understanding.
Okay.
Well, one thing that I can share, we got our invoice and Joe looked at it today. I'm out of town, so I didn't see it, but there were two new member ads on ours. And we have recently, the two that he thought it was, one of them is a former SLP, and so he won't have any dues. And so he called KI. And
Right.
they had included a new member that we just recently added and I didn't know that it would be that quick that they would include her in our
Oh,
year's
sure.
dues. And so I don't know, have you added a new member recently?
We did
Okay.
at the beginning of October, and I
Okay.
got a separate billing for that one.
Oh, okay.
And then I got another one that was, this 3,000, but
Yeah.
it's got that gentleman on there as well.
Okay, and that
Okay.
might be it then potentially if it's a one member, one of the invoices may or may not have everything included on there.
Yeah, because it's showing total
Right.
membership is 20, which is correct. Because we ended up dropping somebody and we added somebody, so we're still at 20.
Yeah.
So these are, I don't know, they're difficult to read as far as I'm concerned.
We've got a question in chat about why are they not mailed to the treasurer? And I wish I had an answer to that because I have been asking that very question. I don't know why. They've just historically send them out to the secretary. But that kind of goes down to that did you know question at the bottom of the screen. I think I got my screen back up, correct? It's that
Yes.
did you know question. Treasurers do have access to that invoice.
That
And
finances section.
yep, in that finance section. So you as secretaries can either get that paper invoice to your treasurer if it's someone different than yourself, or you can download it. And I know Elaine, in your situation, you're one and the same, so
Yep.
that's good. You can download that PDF and give it to the treasurer if it's somebody different. Or if you do have a treasurer and they're unsure of how to access that, have them log on to Kiwanis Connect and they can pull that PDF invoice down themselves. Or if they're unsure how to do that, contact Emily or myself and we can get them set up on that as well. So the information's there. Why don't they mail it to treasurers? I don't know, but there's other ways to get around that.
Yeah, well, the other question I have is in the new system, is there gonna be a notification process that tells you you have a new invoice?
That
Yeah,
I do
'cause
not know yet.
If you don't check it, you don't know it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I know our treasurer doesn't look that often.
I know.
That would be
I don't
amazing.
either.
That would be
That-
amazing. But
yeah,
they do create invoices pretty quickly as far as when new members. As soon as I have a new member in, I could go in and almost check almost instantly and it's there.
Yeah,
Annual renewal notices by the end of October will be up. And once you put a new member in, that invoice, as Emily said, will be there. Now, the
people are so
treasurer may
used to
not,
having notifications on things that I can't believe they don't put notifications in the new version.
That might be something we can ask them to consider
yeah,
notifications there because they're creating this. Bruce is creating this software. So
all right. So that kind of covers, like I said, we all know they're due right now. Couple other things on dues and fees. The Key Club dues, CKI dues, Action Club dues, and our two youngest SLP dues, those are all due right now as well. The Builders Club and K Kids, those are a flat $215 per club. Those are going to be on the sponsoring club as well. So if your club has a Builders Club or a K Kids or a couple of those, it's going to be your club's responsibility to make sure that club fee gets paid. And that's that same November 30th, December 1 there as well. Key Club, Circle K International, and Action Club are handled a little bit differently. CKI and Key Club, Kiwanis International bills those direct to those clubs. For the total for district and international, it is $13. And for Circle K International, the total for district and international is $42. That is an increase this year. The international dues went up from 24 to 32. So if you have a CKI with your club, you might hear a little discussion on that. And that's what's going on there.
Lisa, do they have to have is there a minimum with these clubs? Do they prefer like a minimum of 15 on their roster? Do you know?
I don't know if they have a minimum, Emily.
Okay.
I'd have to check on that.
And
I'm
that's
guessing to get started, they probably have a
Sure.
minimum. But if it's a returning club similar to a Kiwanis club, probably not.
one thing with builders and K-Kids, our invoices came out like in August. So if you wanted to have those, you could send those in much earlier if you'd like, depending on when your budget has it in your whatever budget. But then you can get those kits much earlier, so you can have them for your
Oh,
first
yeah.
meetings. So
Is
do note
you-
that.
You have to pay that before you
Mhm.
get the kits, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, Action Club, again, slightly different. Action Club per member, international dues is $8 per member. And that goes directly into Kiwanis International. District dues are $2 per member, and that is billed locally here through the district office, and then that comes through back to the district. So unlike our Kiwanis dues, unlike Key Club or Circle K, that doesn't go to Kiwanis International first. That stays in the district to come back here.
One thing I note too is I don't typically see, I'm not a sponsor of a Key Club, a CKI or Action. I'm not the Kiwanis sponsor, so I don't ever see those notifications. So your advisor needs to make sure that they are reminding their advisors to make sure that they've submitted those names. Because that could
Yes.
easily get lost in the mess there.
Mhm. Okay, that was at $13 and $42 there. Just a couple notes, and we've kind of already covered a couple of these. If you are mailing a check to Kiwanis International, note the send date on your check and expect a delay. It has taken 4 weeks for checks. A club will report to me, hey, we put the check in the mail on X date. And Kiwanis International will say, nope, I haven't seen it yet. They put a watch on it, and then 3 to 4 weeks later, it will get there. So, just make sure that you are paying attention to those dates and getting it in the mail as soon as possible. Something that we already talked about relatively is that second point there. If there's a question in an invoice, contact KI now. Reach out to member services, get them involved. If you see a discrepancy on the invoice that was mailed or online, like Elaine noted, hey, let's do that. Sometimes clubs will contact me. Hey, I deleted a member on October 12th and it's still showing up for renewals. Well, October 10th was that deadline. So yes, that member is going to be billed. Now, is there something we can do about that? We can work with KI, and sometimes they'll say, yep, we'll take that one off your roster, but you need to contact them now. Get those kind of issues cleaned up now. If there is something that you feel you would like me to help with or be carbon copied on when you're contacting member services, please don't hesitate to do that. Sometimes there are certain things I can do here in the district office to help, clean something up with records. A lot of times it's got to go on to KI, but if you'd like me involved to help mediate something, I certainly can do that as well.
Lisa, Elaine, Elaine has her hand up whenever you get a chance.
Yeah,
too.
just to let you know, I did email member services and I got an email back that they'd received my email and they were going to respond to it in like 3 to 7 days.
Mhm.
So they do let you know that they've gotten it.
Good, good.
And there's
Um,
another one in the chat when you have a chance, Lisa.
Okay, I got my chat
Yep,
buried
yep, I
right
got-
now.
Okay, how do you change a member's status from corporate to individual? Oh, to corporate from individual.
Okay, to change a member status from corporate to individual, that is going to be something that you're gonna need to contact member services on.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are gonna have to do that change in status.
And they've done that for me, and
Mhm.
it's a pretty slick process. They're really good about helping with that.
When you reach out to them, if possible, provide the member number. And
Mhm.
that helps to make sure they're doing the correct member. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
Lisa.
thanks for bringing that up. Even though I got 2 screens here, I got a lot of stuff open,
Yep,
so,
yep.
okay. Just a couple of quick things on these last bottom lines and why everything that we've talked about as far as, making sure the invoices are correct and getting everything paid on time, why it's so important. So clubs with unpaid annual dues, new member dues, or SLP club fees in February may get a special notice. And that Kiwanis International Procedure 360 that I have listed down there, that is policy and procedure for international that basically says clubs with a balance due of more than $150 and that are 60 days past due will receive a charter suspended notice. Now, if you get that letter, that does not mean that your charter is suspended. It just means that, hey, we're putting you on notice that you're not paid. And if you don't get this taken care of, that could be the next step for your club. One of the reasons I did want to go over the service leadership program fees this evening is because more times than not, I've seen that trip a club up as well. I think as Emily has mentioned, it's usually the club advisors, the SLP advisors that are doing those renewals. And if there's a miscommunication and they don't let you or the club treasurer know that that money is due and your club hasn't paid, your club could receive one of these charter suspension notices and not really have any advance notice.
Mhm.
The SLP club fees do show up in your finance button. So if you don't get that paper invoice, but you look up on your finance tab and see that you owe, that's something your club needs to take care of as well. I usually start watching for those unpaid numbers, usually end of January, to try to, if we need to nudge somebody, hey, get this taken care of, that taken care of. But going back to that, 3 to 4 week window to get a check, if you leave something go till the end of January and then just send the check in early February, you're probably going to be getting one of those lovely charter suspended notices, and we just don't want that to happen.
And then Lisa, Ted asked, who receives the SLP invoice? So the advisors and the secretary gets them for Builders Club and Key Clubs. I know the secretary also gets those as well as the advisors. No,
No,
I have as a secretary for
I'm
the
the
K Kids
secretary
and
and I
Builders.
have not received any
You've
invoices
never.
for that. Unless it's
Okay.
sitting in my queue and I did not get anything in writing. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, go
That's
ahead.
what I mean. We need a notification process because it's not working well.
And I
Okay.
think they count on those advisors, yeah, to do that, because I know my advisors have also sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, I've already received it. So
Knowing my advisor, he could lose it very easily.
okay,
The invoice. He's a great
That's-
guy, but he could lose it very
That's a
quickly.
good point.
We'll point out the notification. I'm actually in Indianapolis next week for North American District Secretaries meeting, and I'll point that out. But, I guess for the time being, just make sure you periodically check that notification tab, or excuse me, the financial tab to see if you have any outstanding invoices.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Bylaws. Clubs have asked a couple times these past few months, hey, what do we do with bylaws? There should be a change, or there actually should have been a change last year in club bylaws when the district increased dues. This year, we kind of said, hey, hang on, wait a minute, let's see what International does this year. So this past summer, when International increased the dues, we voted on that at the House of Delegates. Now, for sure, we need a club change or bylaw change, because one of the statements is in the bylaws what that new member dues fee is. What we're getting from Kiwanis International right now, and advised by our trustee counselor Dennis Baugh, is just hold tight for right now. International is working through some modernization of those bylaws, and the end result will be that hey, plug your exact number for new member dues in is going to be taken, or annual dues is going to be taken out. So that way, every time there is a change in something, we won't have to change the bylaws just for that. Now, if your club needs to update bylaws for some other reason, if you're making changes in meeting times, or you're changing your board structure or something like that, hey, yeah, go ahead and do it. But if it's just to change those dues, annuals, and new member, you can hang on for that. Let's see what more information comes. District calendar. Hopefully this isn't new to everyone. I do recognize a few faces that were on last month for the first CLC of the year. These have been up on the district website, and the leadership directory should be arriving in your mailbox as well. Emily's got hers
I got
held
mine
up,
today.
so that's good. So I'm not going to go over these line by line. You've got them there in a couple places, but just wanted to make sure that we're refreshing everyone's memory.
And Lisa, was that directory mailed to secretaries, so one per club? Is
The
that how that works?
leadership directories were mailed to club secretaries and club presidents.
Okay, thank you.
So it should have been both offices that got them. If there's a club that did not have both, there's a few clubs that did not have both reported. It probably only got mailed to one. I do have a very limited supply of extra copies. So if you did not get one, if your club president reports that they didn't get one, let me know. I do have a few that I can mail out. But yeah, that's where they went.
You don't have that posted. Will that be posted on your website too?
The district calendar?
Yeah, no, the district, the whole directory, the leadership
The
directory.
leadership directory, we do not
Okay.
post online. And
Got it.
I will tell you why. It is in an effort to cut down on the number of scam emails that get sent out to our members in our district officers' names.
Got it.
And that is something that we were called out on a couple years ago by Kiwanis International, and I thought, okay, yeah, whatever. I will tell you, this past year, we did not put it up there. And yeah, we still had a few scam emails that went out on our names, but not nearly the impact like we used to have when we put everybody's email address up there.
Got it.
So that is why I am still working on a way. I have had requests to get the leadership directory in electronic form. And I'm still trying to work to see how that might be the easiest to do that. Kind of keep watch for your emails. I'm hoping that by the next time I email out a club officer buzz, I can have a nice compact file to send out to everybody. And that way you can share it with everybody in your club.
Great.
Before we move on from this one, I just want to note that March 29th date in there. That is the annual leadership retreat in York. We are at the Best Western, which is just a hop skip off of the Interstate 80. So we haven't had anything in the western part of our district for a while, so it'll be nice for those clubs. But like I said, it's right off of I-80, so it's easy reach for all our Iowa club members as well. So there'll be more coming in that in the months here ahead. Couple other dates to note. We've got Pittsburgh coming up on June 25th and 28th. And if you were not aware of it, registration for International Convention is open. If you go up to the Kiwanis International pages, look under conventions, you're going to find the lineup and all the information you need on that Pittsburgh convention. So check that out. We're not quite that far along with the district convention, but we'll be there soon enough. District convention will be returning to Lincoln at the Graduate, August 1st and 2nd. Governor John's theme this year is one can make a difference. So we're going to be the difference by the time August is here. And we're going to look forward to some great things at district convention this year. I want to chat a little bit about trustee elections and looking who I have on this evening. I think this will affect a few of you. Every year we have trustees that are elected. Our 6 trustees in the district. One is elected. 2 are elected every year for 3-year terms. This year it is Region 2 and 3. So if you are a club in one of those regions, you know you're going to have a regional election coming up. Right now, the lieutenant governors and the trustees are working on what those election dates will be. That will be set by December 15th. This is new policy that the district board put into place last year to make sure that we had some very set dates and our clubs know what's going on. So that election will be set by December 15th and candidate applications will be the 2nd through March 1st. So kind of keep watch for district newsletter and website for more information on that. Monthly reporting. Emily, did you want to share some information on this?
Sure. Is it easy? Would you guys like to see it online? Would you like to go through that at all? Is anyone interested in that, or just kind of discuss what might go with that? I could how about I just share my screen? When we did some training this summer, we did go over this in detail, and that's helpful, I believe. Let me see. Gotta find it. Sorry about that, guys. We will get it. We can kind of maybe go over those things that Lisa talked about, those areas.
Yeah, while you find that, I guess I just toss out there that just remember the 10th of the month is when International would like that reported by. It's good to know that they do look at the information. Your district leaders look at the information. So that 10th is important. To do it monthly is important. Looks like Emily's got your screen up there.
Yeah, let me see if I can hide some of this. I've got some of these hiding here. Okay. So yeah, so just I most of you probably are not new to this, but if you are, we can just kind of go through this again. This secretary's dashboard is where we're at, and this kind of tells you where your club officers are at. Um she mentioned that little spot right there, youth protection guideline training is just this little check mark right there. Then all your service leadership programs are here. This is who will get. So Diane Brown right here, this is who will get the reminders for the billings and so forth like that. But you can also check that, make sure that everybody has the right advisors in there. So that is also who may get a, Jason in this case may also get a notification for dues and all that good stuff. So, but this is a really nice area to see all of the backgrounds of that. I'm just going to note one little thing on my dashboard. We put a club signature project on here. So this is one of those little things that's on that distinguished club requirements that if you have a club signature project. So this is where we put it, and that's where they're going to look to see if it actually gets put that you do have a club signature project that is noted on the dashboard. Is that correct, Lisa? That's where they look.
Yes, sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your dashboard, and now your monthly reporting here. So you'll see that it now
Emily,
yeah.
do you have, since we kind of had that discussion on finances, can you go to the
Oh yeah,
finance have a minute?
absolutely. So we have our club invoice due here. You can pay online by credit card, which is nice, or you can print and mail. So this is what ours looks like. And so you're right, it gets confusing. So we have some life members. So you have a whole new line item for life members, a whole new line item for tier 1. So that's everybody else basically. They don't necessarily put numbers on this. That's why I like the one that they get mailed out, because it does list numbers of actually what you're paying for and the amount per. We have two of them that are at a different rate because, and not because they are they are spouses. And so we let them know that they are a spouse, so we don't pay for publications for both of them. At the time when they were sending out the Kiwanis magazine, they would only need one to that address. So we would know, so we'd get a savings of $8 or whatever. So this is where that line item is for our two couples that are in there. And then this must be district one right here. Is this right? Yes, this is district dues, the 2220. So that's how I read it. But like I said, the one that I got in the mail today was so much easier to read. But yeah, that's where that's at.
If you have couples in your club and both are getting charged that $8, contact member services and let them know. There are some instances when one member came in and another member came in at a different time, and so that $8 was not automatically taken off. So if that's the case, just make sure you let member services know.
And Lisa, I'll just mention, I did that with a couple that joined our club, and I called KI and they told me that I needed to email it. So just email it if you need to get people with the dual membership, with the spouse membership, to get the $8 off of one person.
Good advice, Jody.
And
No
I had
worries.
another question on that secretary's dashboard. I always check that to see if our SLP advisors are coming due for a background check. And we have one person who used to be a faculty advisor for Key Club, but she isn't any longer, but it keeps popping up that she needs a background check. How do I get her not, I mean, she's not listed. We have a new person listed for the last 3 years, but Teresa keeps popping up as needing a background check. And so how do I get that off of her name on the roster?
Okay, so she's not showing up as an advisor, but yet she's popping up needing a background check?
Yeah, she used to be the advisor, but she isn't anymore, and it still says she needs a background check.
We had the same
Our-
thing with me and it finally
Yeah.
just dropped off that it was expired and, it wasn't gonna be, they weren't gonna get anything, but it still shows that I'm missing my background check.
Yeah,
You know, I guess the only other advice that I have would be again to contact member services and let them know what's going on
Okay.
and see if there's something maybe in the background that is still holding her as an advisor for some reason.
okay,
If she's not showing up as an advisor, I don't know why it would be popping up saying she would need one.
yeah, okay, I'll check in
I-
with,
I think only because they had gotten one in the past. So I have
Probably, yeah.
multiple that had gotten one in the past, and they just think that, yeah. So maybe that's just the default they do.
I
Okay.
think that's it.
So yeah, it's a really nice, I love this feature to do your background check, to be
Yeah.
able to send an invitation right there, right to their email address and so
Yeah,
forth. So that's really
great.
nice. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yes, so yeah, if you have 2023-24, you should ideally have all of your monthly reports done through there. You have then, and then it just populates into the annual report. So it will already be there, and all of the monthly reports from the previous year have been filled out and submitted, and you can actually change them through November 30th if there's anything you need to change. But otherwise, your annual report is done, basically, if you have the monthly reports done for that year. So, and seriously, I just got mine done. My goodness, I'm sorry. I'm on a, got so many crazy things here. Okay. And then the new year, October begins, a lot of times those would pre-populate into like all those questions. So all of these questions like, does your club conduct a service project? Da da da. It pre-populates from the first month that you do it. So October's now a new month. And so you'll have to probably answer all of these questions again. When you go through this. So this is another area, these tools and sites that we engage. I had to click them all again because they didn't pre-populate from month to month, but they will once you now your October, if your October is done, then they should go from month to month. So how are some ways that you collect this information? Do you have some secret ways that you collect? I know Rex had shared some things, I think, at our training one other time, but is there some other helpful ways that you collect this information that maybe we could share?
I
We have
collect all
signups.
the service hours on a spreadsheet. I'll send a
Okay.
notice out before the end of the month and then ask them for their service hours and they send that to me and they tell me how many hours and what it's for, and then I put it on a spreadsheet.
Okay.
That gives me the total.
That's what I do too.
So each person's kind of responsible for their own service hours.
Yep.
Then
Sometimes
you've
they're not real
captured
good
all
at
of
getting
them.
it to you, but
Yeah. Well, then you capture all of them because at this point, I'm just going with the Kiwanis events that I know that we've had a sign up for, and that's how I've created it. And I probably missed some.
Emily, I make a sign-in sheet that I lay on our sign-in table every week, and I have a date at the top, like the week of October 1st, and they have to put their service hours on there. And then at the end of the month, I compile them into a spreadsheet, and then I can move it into this monthly report.
Great. Great. How do you get your financials if you're not the treasurer? How do you grab some of those things? Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah.
Our treasurer sends me the checking transactions every month so I can do the report.
Very good. Very
Ours
good.
does a finance report for each account and it's itemized with what was spent versus budget. And he does it on a monthly basis. So we usually get that about the 5th of the month.
Okay.
Yeah, ours
Yeah, our
we-
treasurer too does at least we can see their activity off of QuickBooks that she sends us, so we can get that in there as well. I'm sorry, Stu, to interrupt you.
I was just say our treasurer sends it out to the board for every
Okay.
board meeting, so everybody knows that.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, so these are some things that are pre-populated in there. March of Dimes, Boys and Girls Club. We don't use many of those ourselves, but we always make sure that we get the foundation ones in. Those usually hit in November in our club that we send them. So then we know that we've done them once, but I always have to remind myself whether I've included them. And this is a great way to add your other monetary contributions. So if you do some local organizations, to add those in there as well. I just want to know, sometimes it's very timely. I think it's so important to do these monthly. It doesn't always happen for me, but under this engagement tab, sometimes they will put in a question, besides adding your club meetings, your interclub, just general questions on the ACE tools. They'll sometimes add something at the bottom, like the audit here has been in there, is always in there, and the Form 990. The July questions, or maybe it was the August questions, was what were your dues? Do you remember that one? What are your club dues? So they they look at these, and I think that's how they do their surveys, and that's how they get their information, to see that the average club dues are at that point or whatever. So sometimes there's some new things that comes on that club engagement form as well.
And we haven't typically done this, but we do have the ability to put some district questions in there as well.
Oh, do you?
You may sometimes see a district question pop up. I don't have anything good off the top of my head right now, what we would put in right now, but you never could tell what might come up.
Awesome. Awesome. I didn't know that. So yeah, those 4 tabs: engagement, service, image, and financials. What's really interesting is that sometimes you wonder if it's a monthly question or if it's just something that you do year to year. Sometimes the questions aren't formatted so great. So like this one, which external community members does your club recognize through an awards program? To me, this is like a monthly question, because it's asking, nope, we didn't do any this month. But then there's one, like on the engagement one, the question is, what do you use for like what tools do you use? I mean, so maybe I didn't use Facebook this month, but we do use them throughout the year. So I mean, that's a whole year kind of question. So does that kind of make sense as well? If it's a monthly or a whole year question. What other things do we need to go through that monthly report? Sounds like you know how to gather your information so that it gets in here. Yeah.
Emily, I saw something there about the number of people who attended the meeting. Do you keep attendance sheets and have people sign in?
I do. Actually, we have a greeter, and I have a sheet that I've got everybody's name on, and then we check them off.
Okay.
So
how long do you keep those?
And I only kind of keep them through the year that I have created the whole year with the annual report. So because then I've got them actually online. We keep it also, our attendance records online as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary to keep checking, but it's nice. I don't know. How long do we keep those records otherwise, Lisa? I think we had this discussion another time. How long do we keep records?
Yeah, it depends how you want to look at it. I mean, there's that, some say it's that 7-year rule, and I've heard 4 years kicked around. So I guess the best answer I can give is what makes sense for your club. You probably don't need attendance records from the very start of your club, but you most certainly should have them for the recent years. So
Okay.
kind of need to do what makes sense for your club. If you're doing it manually, you certainly need to make sure you have storage space in mind when you start thinking about that. How many years do we need?
Okay.
And the thing
Thank
with this reporting, you're just putting numbers and you're not putting names. So I don't know if you're keeping records of perfect attendance and things like that, that'd be a whole nother set of records that you're keeping. We used to have a gentleman in our club that would physically write them on his ledger, and so we knew when they had perfect attendance and so forth. And right now, we use a different program. Well, actually the member day program that we put our attendance in. So I have that electronically for us. Yeah. So I don't keep hard copies as long, but I usually keep these records of sign-ins just for the year that I'm reporting.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. Good question. Anything else on this monthly reporting? You might have questions
Or online at all, any online
or
access
online
questions?
stuff. Yeah.
I am actually our assistant secretary, and so I think there are communications that go out to the secretary that don't go to the assistant secretary. Is that correct? Like maybe coming from Kiwanis International or something? Or
I don't know.
should I be getting those too?
If there is something that comes from Kiwanis International, I don't have an answer for that, Julie. I
Okay.
can tell you if it comes through the district, it does go through both secretaries and secretary assistants.
Okay.
For example, the email that I sent out this afternoon, I made sure that the assistants were on there as well. I
Yep, and I
don't
got
know if that's the case from International, but I can check on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I could check with Lon too. If he's not getting them, maybe. He's my assistant.
I had signed myself up to be assistant secretary. I did that. I assigned myself. I was a glutton, I know, but I did that when we were doing the website changes when they did away with Portal Buzz, and thinking that I would then get communications about the website stuff, and then I did not.
Right.
And that would have come from International.
Right. This club bylaws little tab on your secretaries. I don't know if you see, yeah, I'm assuming you see this with as a secretary. So yeah, we've got some things to update, but like Lisa said, don't be doing anything yet with it necessarily. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop sharing. Where else are we at, Lisa, with that?
Okay. Well, I guess that kind of covered the topics that I guess I wanted to put out there and give you some time with the reporting. If there's questions, you all had some good questions as we've gone along, but we've got a little bit of time here yet. If there's something else, again, I want this to be useful to you and beneficial to you. So if there's something else I can answer or say, hey, let me research that, we'd be certainly happy to do that. Or if you just want to share some good things that are going on in your club right now, we'd be happy to listen to those as well. Rex, what do you have going on there out there in North Platte? I know you always got something going.
I assume that there's no update on the replacement for Portal Buzz yet, and that's still somewhere down the road.
Well, go ahead, Rex, then I'll answer Julie's question.
We got Key Club Week tomorrow. That's our program.
Okay. celebrating that 100th anniversary of Key Club.
Yeah, they'll be informed. There's 2 dates that International comes up with, and one's in May and one's in March. Which one's correct?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the one in May, I think.
Just celebrate
Could be,
twice.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's May, but I know there's another one. They dispute.
Julie, you asked about Kiwanis Engage. Last we had heard that has been rolled back to probably later this Kiwanis year. I don't have a lot more information at this time than that. We have seen some of the components already, some of the pages that are built. There's a lot of similarities to the existing system. Now, is there going to be a button or two new that we're going to have to learn? Absolutely. But what the new Kiwanis Engage will look like is very similar. The bells and whistles that I think a lot of clubs are using the member day for right now, that's going to be step number 2 for Kiwanis Engage. So you won't see those bells and whistles, so to speak, once the reporting side of things come out. So they're working right now to build the member databases and the secretary reporting and those kind of things. And then phase 2 will be to roll out those bells and whistles on keeping specific attendance and email. I think actually emailing to members is going to be in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. Now, sitting here on November 4th, that's my answer. Hopefully in 10 days from now, I will have a little bit more to report as well. As I mentioned, the next week I will be in Indianapolis. We have a gathering of the district secretaries, and we're supposed to have one of our sessions is supposed to be the latest on Kiwanis Engage, and we'll see a few more pages. I don't know, was anyone in this group able to go out to Indianapolis? They had a session on Kiwanis Engage there. Anybody want to report on that? Emily, did you get a chance to sit in on
Well,
that?
I did, but I even have more update because October 7th, our leadership development coordinators, Bryce Kinder, was on that meeting with Lindsay, and he gave us a lot of he went through it again. It was wonderful. So this is what he said. He says they ideally want to roll out in early April. There will be learning tracks so that you can learn maybe how to do those different modules. And so there's always going to be a video, a screencast video, like a 2-minute video here and there to kind of learn these learning tracks of what these areas are. So general access to train, basically. So they're online tutorials that we could start training at that time. So because the staff will get it in December. So they hope to get it by December in Kiwanis International. And then they want to flip the switch in July, and Connect will actually just disappear. So when they flip that switch, Connect will disappear. But they mentioned that the default will be that all the member profiles will switch over. So there's no nothing lost that way. So that's kind of the deal, but they kind of want it in place by Pittsburgh, I think is kind of what their thoughts are.
As Emily mentioned, this isn't going to be here it is one day and go the next. That's been, and I guess that's why I said later this year, because it's going to be training first and then go live later. So
yeah. And like you said, there are different phases. Oh, I'm sorry, Julie, what did you say?
We are looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely. So I think we're going to be doing quite a few more trainings that are not scheduled yet, that we can do that just with secretaries. So they're not on our schedule to do that. So we'll do a few of those. And like you mentioned, phase 2, they're going to kind of launch things in phases. And I think actually I had mass communication would be in the phase 2. So maybe that's not in the first phase.
yeah, and that's what I couldn't remember. I was thinking that was phase 2 as well. So
Yeah. So it's beautiful. It's really really seems to flow smoothly. There's great access. Background checks, they mentioned there's going to be invites to non-members. So if you have any non-members that need a background check, that's going to be part of that. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it.
And I think from what I've seen, that's going back to part of the reason for the delay as well. The first go around, the initial build was so dramatically different, international staffs, that this is not going to work. And they put it back a little bit and said, let's build something that has the functionality that we need and is still similar enough to what we have been using. And hopefully that's the result that you all as secretaries, because let's face it, this group right here is going to be the heavy users of that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. Is there going to be a charge, Elaine says, for the Engage system? No charge. No charge at all. Which is amazing. Because to tell you the truth, it's we pay for this member day, and this may replace what we're using member day for. Because it's got all the whistles that member day does. Well. So yeah, so the spring will be kind of one of those times where we're going to have to get together and do some training with secretaries and those who use it.
We already have a club leadership chat for secretaries planned in March,
Okay.
correct? So that if we have more at that point in time,
yeah,
we can certainly concentrate that CLC on the new Kiwanis Engage. As Emily mentioned, if we need to come back in April or May and do, if you all would find another one of these beneficial, we certainly can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, anything else on anybody's mind?
Yeah, I've got a question, another question about the Kiwanis Engage. What are we going to do with CLE training for secretaries next summer? If this doesn't come out until July, then what will training look like for secretaries?
Emily, have you had any answers on that yet?
Well, yeah, so I think they're going to give us those tracks in order to kind of go through it. We're going to be able, us leadership development coordinators are going to be able to have access to a sample project that we can actually get in there and kind of do some sample things. So, and then play around with it and make changes and do whatever we want to and not mess up anybody's real records that way. So we'll be able to train that way. And it's just hard to say. It's hard to say. We hope that even after the international staff has seen it in December, that I may get to see it, us leadership development coordinators may be able to see it already as early as February. So so I'll see how it goes once I get to see that.
I think there'll still be opportunities, even though it's coming out in April for that, hey, training aspect. We go live in July. Training, club leadership education usually starts in July, so it might be more of a hands-on course this year for CLE than it has been in the past, because it's going to be here. This is live. We're going to have folks at different levels of the training. So I guess kind of in the back of my mind, I've been really envisioning a lot more hands-on this year when it comes to CLE.
Mm-hmm. And the CLE that we've got scheduled are June 12th, July 12th, July 22nd. So we might have, that first one might be pretty important in June before it goes live in July. But I think we'll have a lot more information even by March when we meet again. He calls it a sandbox. So you kind of put everything in a sandbox that we can actually play around with. So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Question?
there was a session in Denver on
Mhm.
Engage, and they, at that point, they indicated that they were going to have a rollout at the international convention in Pittsburgh. So if that may be an opportunity for people to say, hey, this is a reason we need to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good.
Okay, well, anything else? I've got 8:11. I don't want to keep everyone past if we have other things to do, but I'm certainly welcome to, happy to stick around too if there's other questions or discussion you want to have.
Thank you, Lisa, for doing this.
Was this beneficial? Okay,
Good.
that's what we like to
Good.
hear. So happy to do that. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have a question. Emily has a ton of stuff on her plate. I know she's always happy to back me up and answer questions as well. As you know, we keep saying it, but golly, it's the truth. Club secretaries really are the heartbeat of the clubs. So I just appreciate your time this evening and all you do for your clubs and communities. What a great day to be a Kiwanian, and thanks for all your efforts.
And thank you, Lisa. You're the heartbeat of the district.
Yes,
Lead
absolutely.
Through
Keep
that.
us going.
Well, thank you, Jody. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to end the recording. If you want to stick around a little bit, certainly can. Otherwise, I have a good evening.